Hey everyone, welcome to High Thrive Live, our Thursday, I guess it's afternoon for me. I guess it depends on where where you're at in the country. But yeah, Thursday afternoon live stream that we have here each and every week. Heather won't be joining me today. She is coming along pretty far in her pregnancy. She's not feeling well, so we might have to cut her a little bit of slack today. Um, but I had something really exciting. Well, I don't know. It was something interesting to talk about today. And this is something that, we've been seeing a lot of questions about throughout our time here. The question is, okay, how to reconnect with your spouse when they won't talk about the relationship. And I get it. I get the situation. Here you are, you're telling yourself, okay, I want to work on the relationship. Things are not going well. I want to reconnect with my spouse, and here you meet this wall, right? You meet this wall where your husband or your wife won't even talk to you about these things, and it makes it really difficult, really frustrating to move forward in any sort of positive direction, right? If you, and it's almost like a very physical wall. If you come up with, again, to a physical wall, if you don't do anything about that wall, it's going to be hard to advance or to proceed or to move forward in any sort of meaningful way. So then I'm going to explain what exactly is going on and what to do about it. So what is going on here is, when we have someone who is shutting down or who is refusing to talk, I can almost guarantee you that in some way, shape, or form, that there's some level of discomfort surrounding the discussion. So here you are, you go to your spouse and you say, hey, I would really like to reconnect. I really would like to spend some time with you. Why don't we talk about it? And all you get is silence or a distraction or a diversion, or let's talk about it later, procrastination. Right then and there, it's because the discussion in and of itself is uncomfortable in some way. Now, we haven't really, at this point, we haven't really identified why it's uncomfortable, but that's going to be important as we start tearing down these walls. One of the big common things that I find in these sort of situations is that, it's usually one of a few different things. Either one, previous conversations like this have not gone well. Either someone's gotten angry or someone's gotten hurt, someone's getting upset, and your spouse is the type of person who likes to avoid those sort of situations. They don't like to cause harm, or they don't like to be hurt themselves, and so they start shutting down. The other reason is maybe the spouse is completely checking out of the relationship. And so when we see that, of course they're not going to want to, it's not going to be comfortable talking about it. Essentially, what you're doing there is you're trying to work on this one goal over here when their goal is something very completely different. And so if we took this into another situation, if I was going down the street and all I wanted to do, my goal was to have a walk with my family. All right, that was my goal. My goal is to spend time with my family, with my wife, with my kids. And along comes someone and I don't know, they want to sell me something, or they have some other goal in mind. Generally what's going to happen is there's going to be at least some amount of annoyance, some amount of frustration as someone prevents you from reaching your goal. And on their side, there's going to be some amount of frustration as they're not able to accomplish their goal. And we have the same situation here. Here, if your goal is to work on the marriage and they don't have that same goal, or that goal doesn't align just right, there's going to be some amount of discomfort, some amount of frustration. So even still, we have that explanation that they don't engage in these conversations because they're not comfortable. And so what I'm saying here is, even before moving to reconnection, even before trying to get way down the street towards that happiness, that reconnection, if there's this wall in the way, you have to address the wall before anything else happens. Otherwise, you're going to just simply be hitting yourself up against this wall over and over, and you're going to be frustrated. One of the best ways to get past a wall like this is simply to gain some more understanding for the situation. I mean, here we can see quite clearly that there's not enough known about what's going on. We don't know why the partner is uncomfortable, or we don't know what their goals are. And so the key to this, to tearing down a wall like that, is just addressing those walls and finding out more, and inserting some understanding and empathy into the situation. So if we had to give a very concrete example of what you might do here, let's say that you approach your wife and you say, I'd really like to talk about the relationship, and they say, you know what, why don't we talk about it some other time? That's that deflection that I was talking about. And a very concrete some step that you could take here is just simply saying, you know what, you seem uncomfortable talking about this. What's going on? Here we are, we're asking some questions, we're trying to gain some understanding. It's very possible in these sort of situations that your spouse will continue to deflect and continue to procrastinate, and they might say, oh, it's really nothing. And usually a little bit of persistence is all that is needed in these situations, because if we get right down to it, it's comfortable to procrastinate and to put things off and to not talk about these situations, because if it was comfortable, they would have already moved in that direction already. And so what I suggest here, if the big question is how to reconnect when they won't talk, then the answer is addressing the walls that are getting in the way and having more understanding and more empathy for why they have those walls. I think as you start discussing those things and start pulling apart that wall a little bit, it'll become much easier to move past that, to move towards that reconnection and move towards that progress. As you actually align your goals and expectations a little bit better, once again, it becomes easier to have that progress and to move forward together on that reconnection there. So without my counterpart here, Heather, to have some banter and some questions against, this is going to be a little bit shorter of a live stream. If you have questions, I'm going to be monitoring the comments here from this video, and I'd love to answer some of your questions. I only see a couple people watching right now, but if you have questions right now, please put them in and I'll get to them as soon as I can. All right, we're here to help. Please ask us questions. Please contact us. It's exactly what we're here for. Thank you all for watching, and we'll see you again next Thursday.